I'm Jan with Academic Technologies, and welcome to the second video in our Kahoot series. In our first video, we went through the basic process of creating a Kahoot of multiple types. In this video, though, we'll discuss how to run a Kahoot, both from the instructor's perspective and the student's. We'll also look at getting the analytic reports detailing each Kahoot playthrough's results. If you have any questions while watching this video, you can reach out to CNU's Academic Tech team or to me personally at jana.doherty@cnu.edu. For this video, we're going to be using some copies of pre-created Kahoots that we copied into My Kahoots at the end of the last video. To find those Kahoots, we can click My Kahoots. As you can see, every Kahoot has a play button next to it, and clicking on that button will bring you to a page where you can choose some last-second settings for this particular playthrough. Those settings include choosing whether or not students play the Kahoot in the classic style, one student for one device, or in team mode where multiple students share one device. There are a lot of other settings here, including whether or not the questions and the answers are randomized, and whether or not you can automatically move through questions. But I do want to point out one setting in particular, the ability to display something called the game pin throughout a Kahoot. The game pin is important because it's what students will need to access their Kahoot, so I personally recommend having this setting on the off chance that one of your students experiences technical difficulties and has to leave and then rejoin. In any case, any of the settings in this area below need to be selected before you choose either the classic or team mode buttons, because once you select one of those buttons, the Kahoot will get properly started. Let's click on classic mode to get started. You'll have a little notification window with a little bit of information for your students, such as get your phone out. And then you'll pop up into the main waiting space for this Kahoot, which includes the pin and instructions for the students on how to use it. This is also where the intro video you selected when creating this Kahoot will be playing in the background. Finally, you'll have a space here in the middle where you can see any students who log in. We don't have any students logged in yet, so let's go over to the student side and show how those students would log in and put a name in that box. Unlike instructors, students don't require their own accounts to engage with a Kahoot. To start working with a Kahoot, an instructor like you started, a student can simply open up a web browser and go to kahoot.it. There, a student will see a window like this that has a single field for them to enter the pin being displayed through the instructor's window. This is where a big recommendation for the instructor side of Kahoot becomes really clear. Using Kahoot, you may have already noticed that the platform is made so that students can see the instructor side as the platform is playing. You'll see this in multiple ways throughout playing a Kahoot, but we've already seen it once while showing the pin. In order to get access to that session's pin and other information, students need to be able to see it. So if you start using Kahoot in your classroom, make sure to display your side of a Kahoot using the projector as it's being played. The next thing you'll see once you put in the pin is the student is required to put in their name. It says nickname here, but you can develop a system for your classroom where they use certain identifiers or just their name. And click OK Go to get started. And you can already see you're in, see your nickname on screen. Now, for the next few sections, I'm going to be playing through this Kahoot in what's known as a preview mode. Structurally, it's the exact same way you'll see your Kahoot when you're playing it normally for your students. However, it is also going to give us essentially a dummy device so that we can see the instructor platform and student interaction side by side. So let's click Start and begin. We'll have a quick preview, gives us some information that we need. It starts loading up the quiz. And here's our first question. So the very first thing that you'll see is we have the question up at the top of our quiz question, as well as any images or videos that are associated with the question in this Kahoot. We also have the 4 options for this question below, each of them associated with a color and a shape. Finally, we have a timer. You'll see the amount of time this timer is set for on the side, in this case 120 seconds. On the other side, with our student view, you'll note that we don't see nearly as much information. In fact, all we have are a set of 4 clickable buttons with the colors and the shapes. This is, again, another reason that having the instructor view visible for all your students is so important. Because your students are going to be looking up to the instructor mode in order to get the question and the content that those buttons associate themselves with. So, as a student, I'm going to pick an answer here. And right away, you'll see that on the student view that I get some feedback. I can see that I got the question right. And because this Kahoot uses the point system, I can see the number of points I got, as well as my ranking. I am in first place. Now, while each student does get that mini feedback, the final tally for all the students is going to show up on the instructor view only once everyone has answered the question, with the right answer marked with a check mark. In this case, I'm the only one taking the Kahoot, so it shows the tally of 1. And it shows that the question's correct answer was Moana. This portion of a Kahoot isn't timed, so the timer won't reset until the instructor clicks the next button to move on to the next question. But even before that next question, you'll see a scoreboard between each question if your Kahoot is designed to use point tallies. Click next again to get to the next question. And there we go. Now let's skip to the end of the quiz, since all the questions in this Kahoot are essentially the same type. We'll do that just by clicking End Quiz. At the end of a Kahoot that uses the point tallies, you'll see a basic podium that tallies up all the points and recognizing the players who got the most and fastest correct answers. You'll also see a button that says Get Results. Here we'll have a breakdown of all of the students and their point totals, as well as a download button that lets you download the results. You'll also see on the student side the ability for a student to provide feedback and how they felt about this Kahoot. In this case, I'll rate it 3 out of 5. I learned something, and I'd recommend it. I even feel good about this one. If I click that Save Results button, I see 2 options, either to download the results document directly or to save it to my Google Drive. I'm going to download it directly for now, which will open it up in the form of an Excel file. The beautiful thing about this Excel file is that it provides a very thorough breakdown of all of the types of information that you can get from this Kahoot, including general overall performance and feedback, final scores for all of your students, a question summary, including correct and incorrect answers, as well as individual breakdowns of all of the questions that were done in this Kahoot. Finally, if you're the type of instructor who likes to do their own analysis, you do get the option because this Excel file comes with the raw data from this Kahoot. If you're in the middle of a class and can't spend time analyzing all those results right away, don't worry, your results are also stored on the instructor platform. If you want to get them, you go back to the main Kahoot page and you'll see a space on the sidebar that shows recent results. I can even see my most recent Kahoot played here. To see them in more detail, I can click View All of Your Results. And again, I can see the download button for the results for that particular playthrough. Thank you for joining us for this video on Kahoot. If you're interested in trying out Kahoot, we've provided some additional information and a link to the platform in the description below. You can also reach out to our team at Academic Technologies if you have any other questions or would just like help setting up Kahoot for your classroom experience. You can also reach out to me directly at jana.docherty@cnu.edu. Bye!